Whether or not you're a longtime fan of Ultima Online coming back after years, or this is your first time ever experiencing the game, it's always difficult and a little scary to get started in the world of Avedon. But let's just say you've finally gone ahead and got your first aspect, and you're ready to get out there and start farming. What do? Where should you go? Well, I'm going to assume you already know how to use the Witcher RUNE system, and if you don't, maybe I can explain that in another video. But for now, we're going to check out a few great spots in the overworld for a Tier 0 aspect Eldritch summoner to farm. If you're not aware, it's easily the best build for new players to the Shard because at low aspect it outperforms any other build without links. Let's go ahead and get started. The first two spots I'm going to be talking about contain Norse spawns. Starting at Norse Settlement, Witcher RUNE 269, clocking in at 27,000 gold per hour, I found the mobs to be relatively easy to handle one or even two at a time at 0 Eldritch. The Bear Riders have a charge that you have to dodge sometimes when engaging, but for the most part the abilities are pretty inconsequential. In the settlement, the mobs are pretty well spread out and easy to engage, but at the second point, North Fort, Witcher RUNE 46, the mobs inside the building can sometimes overwhelm your mummy. I'm filming these samples with absolutely no points in any codexes, so even just the passive heal from the mummy could be enough to make this spot much more bearable. However, I was still able to farm it just fine despite my run-in with a particular red. Neither of these things proved to be particularly dangerous despite that, and I was able to average 29,000 gold per hour between these two spots. Please keep in mind that the gold per hour here is an in-game estimate using the damage tracker and incredibly suboptimal gameplay. This will not include the sale of rare items you may acquire and liquidate in the process. By this point of your Outlands journey, it's entirely possible that even at 0 aspect you'll have some grimoire points, food buffs, and other things like items that may enhance your output. The next two spots have tribal or savage mobs in them. If you were around during the Second Age, you might be very familiar with this aesthetic. The poisoners will apply a very strong damage over time poison effect to your mummy that unfortunately will not be worth curing as it will simply get reapplied. While it may not always be possible to skip the poisoners, if the positioning gives you a choice, I would choose them last to engage. The shamans also do an AoE attack with bones that you may have to spend some mana or a potion to heal yourself through. The next three spots are all actually within walking distance of each other, not too far from the ossuary dungeon, and can easily be farmed without having to recall around. Witcher RUNEs 111, 110, and 109. Patrolling around the outskirts of all 3 points of interest are nomadic riflemen, horse archers, and outriders. The riflemen and archers may surprise you with a sudden burst of ranged damage, so use caution when engaging. Similar to the bear riders earlier, the outriders will also do a charge attack on pull that you may need to sidestep to avoid. Once you make your way inside these points of interest, you may find yourself fighting hoarders, guards, and janissaries. The janissaries being the most noteworthy of the three, as they will drop a massive AoE explosion on your pets from time to time. If you're too close, you may take a large chunk of damage yourself, so make sure to always keep yourself topped off and be ready to disengage and resummon your mummy if need be. Despite that, I was still able to clock 25,000 gold per hour between the three spots and had no competition or PK encounters in my testing. I also found that the spread of mobs was pretty easy to manage and never really had any points where I had to pull my pets back to save them. The last of the spots I'll be sharing in this video contain pirate spawns. Deserted Island, Witcher RUNE 139, and Shipwreck, Witcher RUNE 54, both contain larger packs of marooned pirates which are weaker than the mobs we've covered so far. However, the pirate captains, husk crabs, and deep crawlers all compare. Despite the weaker pirates, you still maintain relatively solid gold per hour because of the concentration of them, and their damage output shouldn't change compared to the other spots as far as your mummy is concerned. Between these two spots, I was able to clock a solid 27,000 gold per hour. However, you may have the chance when pulling larger groups of weaker mobs in this instance to get a lucky 2 or 3 mob Eldritch proc that will dramatically increase your GPH due to the AoE. This happened on the second spot for me, and I was able to pull close to 30,000 gold per hour on that spot as a result. On top of that, both of these spots are in relatively remote locations, and I find it highly unlikely for you to run into a PK on your journey here. That concludes my list of Tier 0 Eldritch farming spots today. I'm sure there are more out there, however I find these to be particularly more convenient than running down to, let's just say, Aegis 2, because you can easily recall in and out of them and move between locations with the runebook. If you found this video to be helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe, and if you think I missed anything or would like to leave me some feedback, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. This is my first time ever making a video like this, so the feedback would be much appreciated. Whether you're new to Outlands or just an experienced player who decided to check out my video, thank you for watching and good luck hunting.